Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports.
Hey, it's the Jeff Thitoff Show. Thanks so much for tuning in. FanStream Sports, powered by DSPMediaOnline.com. Got a lot to get to. There's so much NFL news to talk about. We can start with the trade the Bears made with the Carolina Panthers. The Bears gave up the number 1 pick overall. They get the number 9 pick this year from Carolina. They get a first rounder next year. They get a second rounder this year and a second rounder in 2025. And so when I heard, they also got DJ Moore. Oh my gosh, can't forget that part. They got DJ Moore, a wide receiver, who automatically becomes the top wide receiver on that Bears team. When I first heard it, I thought the Bears should have gotten. I kept anticipating the Bears to trade back twice, like maybe go to 2 and then to 4. They drop all the way to 9. But again, they do get quite the haul for it now when you look at it. DJ Moore being, again, automatically the best receiver. I wish the Bears would get another receiver better than DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is a really good number 2 receiver. Not sure if he's a great number 1, but the Panthers now make that move, and they clearly they have a quarterback in mind they want to take, or do they? Because there's talk the Panthers might trade back as well. If there's 2 they like, maybe trade back to Houston, try to get Houston to get the guy they want, so Carolina still gets their guy. So Carolina might be able to recoup some of the draft capital they gave away to Chicago in that deal. But it's looking a lot like you'll see 3 quarterbacks go at least in the first 4 picks of the draft, because you're going to have Carolina taking 1, you're going to have Indy taking 1 at 4, and you'll have the Texans taking 1 at 2. Arizona, another candidate to trade back from 3 if the Raiders want to jump up, although I don't think they would now based on news today. We'll get into that in just a moment. The Panthers, though, regardless who they like, they did sign Andy Dalton to a 2-year, $17 million deal. So he could be that bridge quarterback, whoever Carolina goes with, be it Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, who I think those are the really only 2 options for Carolina. You could have a competition potentially with Andy Dalton. There's like maybe Andy Dalton starting the season, getting the 1 reps early on before the Panthers turn over the offense to a rookie. No decision yet on Aaron Rodgers. As of right now, I'm recording this at around 6:30 Eastern time on Tuesday evening. No decision on Aaron Rodgers yet with the Jets, but all signs are pointing that way based on what is happening on the Jets side. Now, Rodgers has done his dramatic, look at me stuff, and I'm waiting, I'm close, I'm waiting, 4 days of isolation, I'm almost there, it's almost there, I don't make people wait. Anyway, Rodgers is a drama queen. Nonetheless, reportedly, he put out a list of players he wants the Jets to go get on the team. Among them, Allen Lazard, wide receiver, and the Jets have reportedly signed him to a 4-year, $44 million deal. He also wants them to get Randall Cobb and Odell Beckham Jr. Now, he's never played with Odell before, but for whatever reason, he wants to have Odell there. Look, the Jets already have a decent couple of wide. Garrett Wilson is a stud, and so I don't know. If you want to add Aaron Rodgers and Lazard and Cobb, that's fine. Whatever. If you want to do it, that's fine. But Garrett Wilson's a really damn good rookie receiver out of Ohio State from last year who got over 1,000 yards. And in his second year now, look at the dumpster fire of quarterbacks he had to play with last year with Mike Wilson, with who else? Joe Flacco out there. Zach Wilson, Mike White. And so it's not fair to judge Garrett Wilson on last year. Even though he had a damn good year, he could be really good with a better quarterback in there. So we're waiting to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers when he makes the announcement that he's going to play. It looks like he's going to. He'll get traded to the Jets. They're probably working out how the contract will look and the draft compensation that goes back to Green Bay, who will then turn everything over to Jordan Love. And interesting for the Packers now, they have to make a decision by May 1st on picking up the 5th-year option on Jordan Love. And so that would fully guarantee that contract for about $24 million, I believe, is what Jordan Love will get, maybe $23 million, but it would fully guarantee his contract, and they haven't really seen him play much. So they're going to have to blindly probably just pick up that deal and pick up that 5th-year option on Jordan Love. Other news out of the NFL. Austin Eckler was trying to negotiate a longer-term deal with the LA Chargers, the star running back for them. Can't come to an agreement. He said, can I please seek a trade? Chargers said, go ahead. So Austin Eckler is out there right now looking for a potential deal for the Chargers. And a couple of teams I think that should be interested are the Bears and the Patriots. I think the Bears have plenty of cap space, even have some deals that we'll talk about later on. But They have plenty of cap space. They have draft capital. They can make a deal and have it not hurt them at all. The Patriots, another team that might want to look at them. The running back market in free agency is moving slowly. And it's like there's a stud out there. There's a lot of guys, it feels like they're just replacing similar players. I don't see a huge upgrade on many teams so far at running back. Dave Montgomery's out there for the Bears, but, would he be a big upgrade? The Eagles signed Rashad Penny. Okay, he's really good if he stays healthy. Is he better than Miles Sanders, who they're getting rid of? The Dolphins re-upped with Raheem Mostert and also with Jeff Wilson Jr. They re-signed them. But so you're moving things around and you wonder if, how much better are these teams getting at running back with the moves they're making. One thing I think the Bengals should do, if I were the Bengals and I'm drafting in the first round and Bijan Robinson from Texas is there on April 27th, I grab him, I cut Mixon, I try to re-sign Samaje Perine at a decent number. You save $10 million under the cap by cutting Mixon. So I would do that if I were the Bengals, and get Bijan Robinson on a rookie deal based on all the other things the Bengals, the other money they're going to pay out, like to Joe Burrow, to T. Higgins, to Jamar Chase. Now the Bengals did lose two key pieces to their defense in the defensive backfield. Jesse Bates went to the Falcons, 4 years, $64 million. And then Von Bell goes to the Panthers on a 3-year, $22 million deal. The Bengals have got to find a way to fill that void, probably better through free agency. And like I said, draft Bijan Robinson, get a stud running back on a rookie deal, and then build up the rest of the offense with their extensions. The Jimmy Garoppolo goes to the Raiders. I wasn't surprised by this at all with Josh McDaniels there. He gets 3 years, $67.5 million, $34 million guaranteed. They also signed Jacoby Myers, another former Patriot, 3 years, $33 million for Jacoby Myers. And then after that, the Raiders traded Darren Waller to the Giants for a third-round pick, number 100 overall. So the Giants, who signed Daniel Jones to a big deal, 4 years, $160, and franchise tagged Saquon Barkley, now add Darren Waller to that. That's a huge addition if he can stay healthy for the New York Giants. I love the deal for the Giants. I'm surprised the Raiders did the deal, but it's a great deal for the Giants, and they got him at a cheap price too. The Lamar Jackson stuff keeps going on as well. Now, what's interesting about Lamar Jackson is, the legal tampering period started on Monday, where teams could make agreements with players and sign deals, even though nothing's official until you can really talk at 4:00 on Wednesday. But because Lamar Jackson does not have an agent, he was not allowed to talk to teams. Agents can talk to teams and to owners. Players cannot. So because Lamar Jackson does not have representation right now, he's negotiating his own deals, he is not allowed to do that. So they have the non-exclusive tag on Lamar Jackson. So if nothing happens, if he gets no offers, he can negotiate with other teams starting Wednesday at 4:00 Eastern time. But if nothing happens there, if he doesn't sign an offsheet with somebody and just stays with the Ravens, it'll be a $32.4 million salary for the upcoming season. If somebody else signs him to an offer sheet, then he can, then the Ravens can either match it or say, we're not going to match it. We don't want to match this compensation. And the Ravens get 2 first-round picks out of it. So do we see, because the Ravens are pretty much saying Lamar wants close to, I think, what Deshaun Watson had guaranteed. And he deserves it based on what Deshaun did. The Deshaun Watson deal shook up the NFL for a lot of quarterbacks, especially with Lamar Jackson. We'll see what happens with that deal. One of the teams I keep an eye on are the San Francisco 49ers. And here's why. The 49ers don't have a first-round pick, by the way, this year, or a second-round pick. So they couldn't do the deal where they signed to an offer sheet. They could agree to a sign and trade with the Ravens. The 49ers have their first-round pick the next 2 years after this. They were just awarded 7 compensatory picks in this year's draft. I think 4 of them are third-rounders. So maybe they can work out a deal with the Ravens where the 49ers give up a boatload of draft picks and Trey Lance in order to get Lamar Jackson. I can only imagine how great that San Francisco offense would be under Kyle Shanahan with Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. It would be a complete nightmare for defensive coordinators in the NFC West and in the NFC as a whole, but that'd be a great deal for them. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk more NFL, some more deals that were made, some big-time deals that are going to really affect the races next year. We'll do that next right here. It is the Jeff Tito Thitoff. JT Show. At That Happens on Twitter, FanStream Sports, DSPMediaOnline.com.
Hello, sports fans. FanStream Sports.
Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan, but he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, one unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashland Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more FanStream Sports.
FanStream Sports, DSPMediaOnline.com. We talked about the 49ers to end the last segment, and we're going to keep on talking the 49ers right now. Philadelphia's defensive tackle, Javon Hargrave, signed a 4-year, $84 million deal with the San Francisco 49ers, shoring up even more. Look, their defense is already pretty awesome, and adding him is an important piece for them. I think they overpaid for him. He gets $40 million guaranteed. He just turned 30, which is the concern, but he had 16 hits, quarterback hits, 10 tackles for loss, a career high 11 sacks last year. So can he duplicate that? Probably not, but adding him in there is someone they have to account for, that the defenses have to account for, make San Francisco's defense even better. Maybe not in the long term. They might regret this deal in 2 or 3 years. But this year, I think it's a good signing for the 49ers. Also, the Derek Carr thing, signing with the Saints for 4 years, $150 million with $100 million guaranteed. I thought that, first of all, Carr automatically becomes the best quarterback in the NFC South. Look at the NFC South right now, and it's the easiest path to the playoffs because you've got the Atlanta Falcons with Desmond Ridder. There's their quarterback, very unproven, very inexperienced. Tampa Bay, who the hell knows with Brady being gone. And then you've got Carolina now with either Andy Dalton or a rookie in there. So this division is the Saints for the taking. They should win this division easily this year, especially with more news that they got Michael Thomas to agree to a 1-year, $10 million deal with a potential $15 million total based on incentives. So now you've got Derek Carr, who signed for a deal similar to Daniel Jones. I'd much rather have Derek Carr than Daniel Jones. So you got Derek Carr on this deal. You've got Chris Olave out there. You've got Jarvis Landry, and you've got now hopefully a healthy Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, potentially. Depends what happens with this legal thing and where he's at health-wise, but nonetheless, it's quite the potent offense now. I think it's great for Derek Carr. I think he got kind of the shaft with the Raiders. Did the Raiders really upgrade with Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't think it's an upgrade for them, but I think the Saints certainly got a lot better. Now they don't have Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton there, who they had to rely on last year. And you don't have to worry anymore about Taysom Hill getting some reps at quarterback, I wouldn't think, except maybe just, weird packages where they're trying to do some confusing of the defense. But Jameis Winston, though, surprisingly to me, re-signed for 1 year for $8 million with the Saints. So he must not have had a vibe that he could go start somewhere else and that no one's going to offer a better opportunity, because he's not going to beat out Derek Carr for this job. Derek Carr is their starting quarterback. That's all there is to it. And so Jameis Winston has accepted his role as a backup. And now look at that 2015 quarterback class. The top 2 names taken: Winston, number 1 to Tampa Bay, Mariota, number 2 to Tennessee, and how that played out for everybody. Because although I think Winston and Mariota still have some value, they will never, ever be able to live up to the hype of what they were in 2015 when they were the top 2 picks in the draft. The Jaguars got some good news and bad news. The good news is Calvin Ridley was reinstated by the NFL. He can play for the Jaguars this year. Think about that. A great deal. The Jags traded for him at the trade deadline last year when Ridley was still under suspension. Ridley was taking some time off in 2021 for mental health reasons. And then in 2022, he gets suspended for gambling for the whole season. 364 days he's gone for. Now he's back. He is an elite receiver. This isn't like when a quarterback sits out for a couple years. It's been a year and a half since Ridley's played a game, I guess. Maybe a little, actually more than that. When it's all said and done, it'll be damn near 2 years by the time it comes around into the regular season. Ridley is a huge addition to the Jaguars. He is a better addition than any rookie receiver is going to make in the draft this year. So that's great for Trevor Lawrence, how they finished last year. Look, this Jags team is a shoo-in for me to win the AFC South, and certainly a contender to play for the AFC Championship. So great move for the Jags. What did hurt them, Jawan Taylor, their offensive tackle, signed a 4-year, $80 million deal with the Kansas City Chiefs, $60 million of it guaranteed. So that part, Jawan Taylor's only 25 years old and played really well this past year. So he has gone to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have a couple of offensive linemen, also free agents. We're waiting to see where they fall, but this may make a decision for Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown's the big one that Kansas City's got that is a free agent right now. They chose not to tag him. Geno Smith's deal with the Seahawks. It came out first saying it was like 3 years, $105 million. That's not the case. It's really a 3-year, $75 million deal. He should make $52 million his first year, but they can get out easily after 1 year. That might still put the Seahawks in play for a quarterback in the draft at number 5, or at least the appearance of, which could help them trade back. If they can convince another team that they might take a quarterback, the Seahawks could trade back at some extra draft capital. Jalen Ramsey was traded from the Rams to the Dolphins. All the Dolphins had to give up was a 3rd-round pick and a tight end who caught 1 pass in his career. So not a big haul. There was talk about Ramsey, maybe the defensive back, getting a first round or multiple first rounds or something like that. That did not happen at all. So Ramsey goes there. The Dolphins pick up a couple of more years. He ends up making more money on it. They guarantee more money. It gives the Rams salary cap relief. This Rams team should be sinking. They say they're not shopping Stafford. but I got to believe if somebody comes up to them with a decent offer for Matthew Stafford, they would have to consider it. And I'm not saying that that's what will happen, but this Rams team is starting a rebuild now, as far as I'm concerned. And I got to believe everything's on the table if people call up, and because they're behind the Seahawks and behind the 49ers right now in the NFC West. You've got an aging quarterback coming off an injured season with elbow issues. That's still a big deal for him. You struck out on the wide receiver market because Allen Robinson was a total bust for the Rams. Cooper Kupp got injured. There's just too many. They traded so much to win the Super Bowl, and that's fine. Good for them. It's worth it. But they mortgaged a lot of their future in order to get the Super Bowl they won. So the Rams are now paying for that right now. Bud Grant, by the way, passed away at the age of 95, former Vikings head coach for a long time, led them to 4 Super Bowls, and they didn't win any of them, but I think that's overblown in the context of his career. He had a long, tremendous career with the Vikings. Famously, I think most recently saw him in like 2015 or 16 when he was, I guess at that point in his 80s, and he goes out on the field for a ceremonial coin toss in below zero real temperature, like minus 6 degrees temperature. That doesn't even include wind chill, but like minus 6 temperature, goes out there with his short sleeve shirt like he used to wear sometimes for the coin flip. But Bud Grant was a great coach for them, passed away at 95, greatest coach in Vikings history. Kirk Cousins, speaking of the Vikings. So first of all, the Vikings released Adam Thielen, and Thielen's one of their all-time great receivers, had a lot of good years there with the Vikings. They released him, and I don't know if they're going to pick up somebody in the draft, if they're going to try to trade for another receiver. Justin Jefferson will need help. TJ Hawkinson certainly can help them out. But Kirk Cousins hinted at the fact that he will probably test free agency in 2024 after the season. Kirk Cousins he hasn't been an elite quarterback, but he's been a pretty good quarterback for Minnesota, certainly top half of the league in my opinion. But this is a critical year for Minnesota, and they also got to start paying Justin Jefferson at some point. He's going to become the highest paid wide receiver of all time when his deal gets done. He is that special. I've got him on par with Randy Moss as far as being the most unguardable receivers I've ever seen. That's the way Justin Jefferson is. One more note, NFL, a couple of rules were proposed for NFL for consideration. One of them was going to the onside kick rule, similar to the XFL, where a team takes the ball. If they want to try an onside kick, instead of doing that, they have a play from their own 20-yard line. 4th and 20 is what they're calling it. If you pick up the 20 yards, you keep the ball. If you don't get the 20 yards, then the other team takes possession wherever the line of scrimmage would be at that point. I like that rule. The onside kick is pretty much worthless anymore in the NFL. So I hope the NFL picks up that one. Another one the Lions proposed was if you right now the rule states if you are successful on both of your coaches' challenges, you can have a third one. The Lions are proposing change to where if you're successful on one of your two, you get a third. But 3 is the max. Even if you get all 3 right, you don't get a fourth. They're also proposing that. That's proposed by the Lions. There's been a proposal out there for reviewing roughing the passer and seeing if that can be a reviewable play going forward. Those are among the changes that are being sent out there to the NFL. So I'm trying to think of the other ones that are out there. So those are the big ones, though, as far as the rule changes go. But coming up next, look, we're getting the NCAA tournament next. We've got some talk on that with the NBA as well. We'll do that all coming up. This is the Jeff Thitoff Show right here, FanStream Sports.
FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports.
Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES Lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes, so call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Hey, folks, it's still engagement season, and where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to wait to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in. They have everything right there in-house, so why go anywhere else? And you can get up to 15% off this January if you buy something with the birthstone, which is garnet. Garnet and gold, Florida State, get something for your favorite Seminole. And let's not forget the Emilique collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship returns this March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of golf action plus the host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Sam Burns, who won in a thrilling playoff last year, is looking to make it 3 wins in a row on the Copperhead course at Innisbrook Resort. He will be challenged by a top field that includes Jordan Spieth, returning for the first time in 5 years. The 2015 Valspar champ counts 13 PGA Tour victories, including 3 majors in his career. It will be a great field and great fun. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship. JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right, your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah, so call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, NCAA tournament time. This is Jeff Thitoff. Thanks so much for joining me here on the Jeff Thitoff Show. FanStream Sports, powered by DSPMediaOnline.com. Follow me on Twitter @ThitHappens. Wanted to talk a little about with the NCAA now going on. We've got Tuesday and Wednesday are the first four in Dayton, Ohio. And I heard Frank Isola with an interesting idea. And I think I buy this. I think that we believe, the way we talk about it is the NCAA tournament really starts on Thursday. I mean, if you're playing in the playing game, yeah, you're in, but it's the playing game. You got to play in to get into the main field. And instead of playing the games in Dayton, Ohio, I like what Frank Isola said. And his idea was have the first four play wherever their next venue will be if they win. So if a team, like for instance, in the game tonight, one of the games tonight, if that winner is going to site A, if they win, then let's just put them in their playing game in that site. So they're still in the environment with other NCAA players that are there because the other teams will be there in the hotels. They can experience more of it versus playing just in Dayton, Ohio. No knock on Dayton, Ohio. They do a great job there with this venue, and they do a really solid job with the presentation of it. And Dayton's hosted a lot of big time games there in that arena, Hara Arena in Dayton. So I'm fine with that. All that. I'm just saying it might be better for these 8 teams playing in the first four to be able to be in the arena where they're going to play if they win. I like that idea of it. By the way, top seeds are, as you probably know by now, you should know by now because you probably fill out a bracket. Don't know if you're a multi-bracket person or not. I am. I'll have one main bracket. I'll fill out other ones in contests and stuff just for the hell of it and to follow along. Couple ideas if you're going to do one. I'm doing an individual player pool tonight, individual player draft tonight, where you draft players. There's 10 people in it. It's a snake draft, and you get points for every player. Every point your player scores throughout the tournament. So if you there are certain guys you might look at and say, I'm going to take all the points this guy can give me here in the couple of games where I know he's eliminated, or I'm going to take this other guy who scores less but will score more over the course of the tournament. It's a lot of fun. I recommend that. I've also seen auctions where they auction off teams, and you get a percentage back based on every time they win. You divide the pool up, like as far as the money goes. Each win's worth X amount of dollars and maybe some more for the championship. Those are also fun. But top seeds, Alabama, Houston, Kansas, Purdue. I've got a real, let me tell you this first. So according to NCAA.com, the odds are 1 in 120.2 billion. Billion with a B. 1 in 120.2 billion that you have a perfect bracket. So not going to happen. Anyway, my final four are Alabama, Arizona, Houston, and Texas. I could still change that, before Thursday when you really have to have everything done. I love Alabama. I'm pissed off the way Alabama's done some things this year off the court and the way they've handled things. Don't get me wrong. But I think Alabama's got the best shot at winning this thing. With Houston, if Sasser's injured, if he's not 100% by the time they play their second game, I'm all of a sudden be very concerned about that. Then you got Arizona and Texas, the other two that I like. I keep trying to find a reason not to like Houston other than the Sasser injury. I'm having a hard time doing it. Those are my four. I think in the first round, a couple of the upsets I like number 13 Furman. I think they'll give number 4 Virginia a lot of trouble. I like number 12 Drake over Miami, number 12 VCU over St. Mary's. By the way, in college basketball, Zach Edey was the only unanimous All-American on this year's team. First team, obviously, only unanimous one. And I watched Zach Edey play against Ohio State. When he goes against a team like Ohio State that has really no experienced bigs that are out there. They were guarding him with a 6'11" freshman who played basketball for like 4 years. And when Edey plays against someone that inexperienced, and Felix Lakpar is the kid name. Felix Lakpar did a decent job on him, but that was the only guy Ohio State that was close in size. And they put Eugene Brown on him, who's much shorter. And basically, whenever Zach Edey got the ball down low within 5 feet, it was just up to him if he makes it or not. Like there wasn't going to be a contested shot because he was going to make the shot or miss it based on his shot. And that's a tough way to play a game against somebody that big. So Purdue rolled Ohio State in the Big Ten semifinals. But if Purdue gets up against a team that has physical height and depth on their team, they can get Purdue problems. Purdue is inconsistent shooting the three, which is why I think Purdue's going to match up with somebody at some point before they get into the Final Four that is going to be able to match up with Zach Edey and give him problems. By the way, and this is not disrespect and every time you say not disrespect, you really mean disrespect. But I don't really mean disrespect on this one. But Zach Edey is a tremendous college basketball player. But you get this sometimes, you get guys that are fantastic college players that then does not translate to the NBA. It happens. It happens every year. It seems like there's a guy, it's like, this guy's a stud. He's going to be great, and he's not in the NBA. Different game, different style. There's no way, in my opinion, Zach Edey has a prosperous career in the NBA. Why? Because he's going to go against people that are that can match up with him, that are more athletic. And Edey's got to move out there and guard some of these guys. Joel Embiid shooting a three. Somebody like that. Karl Anthony Towns. Some of these bigs that are out there that are going to push him around a little more, and he's not going to be able to bully them like he bullied Ohio State. And he straight bullied Ohio State because Ohio State had nobody behind Akpara that was of any kind of substance as far as size goes. He won't get that when he gets to the NBA level. He's going to have a hard time. I think he'll be a late second-round pick if he's selected at all, just because of as great as he is at college, it's a much different game at the NBA level. Big coaching news. In the old Big East, you had Syracuse, you had Georgetown, you had St. John's. Well, Syracuse now, obviously, over in the ACC, Georgetown, St. John's still in the Big East. But Syracuse, Jim Boeheim came out after their loss in the ACC tournament, and they weren't going to make a postseason tournament because of the fact they had another crappy record this year, under 500 and all that. So he's been asked about retirement a lot. He's been there 47 years. He's 76 years old. Asked about retirement a lot this year, and every time he's asked about it, Boeheim's like, very deflective, and like he always is, very dismissive of the media for even asking the question. How dare you? How can you ask me this question? I'll let you know. The university will let me know. I'll let them know. Whatever. But in his last press conference, he was asked about it, if he was going to retire or not, and he said it's up to the university. That's up to them, and that's all he said. So shortly thereafter, Syracuse released a statement saying, we'd like to thank Jim Boeheim for his 47 years with the university, and Adrian Autry is taking over, who was the assistant coach for him. Adrian Autry is taking over. In the press release, there were quotes from the Syracuse AD. There were quotes from Adrian Autry, nothing from Boeheim. So the way it appears is that Boeheim was let go, not retained, fired, however you want to put it on that. Boeheim did not retire. Now, they may have given him a chance to say, I'm retiring, and he didn't take it. But nonetheless, he's out at Syracuse after 47 years. Boeheim, in 1986, had a chance to take the Ohio State basketball head coaching job after Ohio State fired Eldon Miller. Boeheim declined that. Instead, recommended Gary Williams, who was at Boston College at the time, good friend of his. Williams got the job, did well at Ohio State. But Boeheim's last decade or so has been very nondescript for Syracuse. The game had passed him by, and it's a good move for Syracuse to have Boeheim now. It's kind of an ugly breakup here, but it's the best. It's in the best interest for Syracuse going forward. Georgetown fired Patrick Ewing after 6 seasons. He had like a 29-game losing streak in the conference at one point. Just never did well there. Made one NCAA tournament, got a win, I believe, in that one. But Patrick Ewing gone out of Georgetown, and they're going to have to move on from. It was obviously John Thompson. The big John Thompson was their most prominent head coach. Then his son JT3 took over, and then Ewing. And so they got to get away from the Georgetown past and find somebody new and young who can bring Georgetown back to where it used to be. And then also St. John's fired Mike Anderson. The big name coming up, I think, with Georgetown and St. John's both is Rick Pitino. The other big name is Mike Bray, who just finished his career at Notre Dame. Either one of those guys would be decent fits for those teams. Pitino, I know he's 70 years old. I think he wants another big-time head coaching job somewhere. Georgetown, St. John's, those could be big-time head coaching jobs. Get him back into the Big East. That'd be good. I think Pitino's a great match for them. I think that Mike Bray could be good also either school as well. Georgetown, St. John's, both still could rebound. It's just a question of they get the right person in there. Notre Dame, by the way, who Mike Bray had just left, he resigned, I guess. Said, I'm done with Notre Dame, but I'm not done coaching. And supposedly Notre Dame is pursuing Chris Holtmann for Ohio State. Ohio State fans might be okay with that. I'm not. I think Chris Holtmann's going to turn things around at Ohio State after this season without going to the NCAA. They lost 14 of 15 at one point, 9 straight. They've got a great recruiting class coming in, though. And so I think that Notre Dame is going to pursue Holtmann. I don't think Holtman goes. He's come out and said, I'm at Ohio State. I'm not going anywhere. But you can only take coaches so much at their word. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I'm not sure if Notre Dame is much of a step up from Ohio State, if at all. But anyway, so the Notre Dame is looking at Holtman, wants to get him in there. Holtman, I think, has an affection for Notre Dame, but I don't think he would leave right now Ohio State with the top 5 recruiting class coming in, the way they finished up. These freshmen they had were fantastic down the stretch in the Big Ten tournament. They played really well. Malachi Branham is I'm sorry, not Malachi Branham. Bryce Sensenberg. He is headed to the NBA. I've got to believe he'll be a first-round pick, but they got Roddy Gale. They got Bruce Thornton and Felix Lakpar coming back, so that should be fun for that. All right, coming up next, final segment we'll do next, more coaching news. We'll do that here, FanStream Sports, and also some NBA news. DSPMediaOnline.com. It's the Jeff Thitoff Show.
Hello, sports fans. FanStream Sports.
Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan, but he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashland Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more FanStream Sports.
All right, final segment of the program. I'm Tito, Jeff Thitoff. Follow me on Twitter @ThitHappens. This is FanStream Sports, the Jeff Thitoff Show, powered by DSPMediaOnline.com. A couple of hirings in college basketball. One kind of surprising, actually both a little bit surprising to me. Georgia Tech has hired Damon Stoudemire and signed to a 5-year deal to take over their program. Stoudemire, most recently, assistant coach of the Boston Celtics. His last game, I think, is going to be tonight with Boston, maybe last night. But his last game, though, he's going to take over that job. He was a head coach at Pacific for a while, and then after that, he's done work at other colleges too, but he's an assistant for the Boston Celtics right now. He's leaving that post to go take over at Georgia Tech. Ole Miss hired Chris Beard. And what's interesting about the Chris Beard thing, so Chris Beard was at Texas in his first year on the job. It was doing great on-court stuff there. They were really progressing, playing well. And then the 911 call happened where his fiancée, I guess is who it was, had called 911 on him and had stressed that she was in some kind of danger because of what had happened at Ole Miss. It was back on, I'm getting the actual date, December 12th when that happened. She reported some different physical things that she had happened to her via Chris Beard, and there were photos of it taken. It was a big deal. He was arrested, and then the Texas Longhorns fired him. And now, after that, he was cleared, not cleared. I don't know if cleared's the right word. He was vindicated, not vindicated either. Nothing came of it. Let's put it that way. She didn't want to press charges, said that it got out of control. And so even though Texas fired him, he had not been officially I don't think charged necessarily. He certainly was convicted of anything regarding domestic violence. Ole Miss hired him. And I'm surprised. I'm just kind of surprised how quickly it happened. I understand why Chris Beard, and I know the whole innocent till proven guilty. I get it. I understand why Chris Beard deserves another shot. I'm just surprised it happened so quickly. But Chris Beard now, Ole Miss, he's a hell of a coach. He said, I'm honored to be joining the Ole Miss family, excited to start at this great university. And he said, I can't wait to connect with our players and recruits and begin this journey together. Just for the record, Ole Miss now has Chris Beard and Lane Kiffin as their main football coach, Lane Kiffin, basketball coach, Chris Beard. Just saying, draw your own conclusions. But that's where we're at on that one. And the NBA. Interesting news out of this now. There's a proposal out there because the NBA is still trying to figure out this whole load management thing. There was, players that are load management, they sit out. People sometimes pay a lot of money on a premium game to see the top players, and then they sit out because of load management. Not because they're injured, but because they just need a day off. And so the NBA and NBA Players Association are working on a deal to where in order to win certain awards, you have to play a certain amount of games. Like right now, for instance, in order to win the NBA scoring title, 82-game season, in order to win the NBA scoring title, you've got to play at least 54 games. That's a lot of games off still. You're talking about 28 games off. But they might start making, if you're the MVP, you've got to play a certain amount of games. Michael Wilbon said it was like 70 to win MVP. And if you make it also tied into first team All-NBA, second team All-NBA, third team, if you start tying into that as well, that really affects the players' pocketbooks. Because if you get there are certain criteria you can hit that make you eligible for a supermax contract, for more money, a significant amount too. We're not talking about chump change here, but there are certain things in place within the rules that if you hit first team All-NBA, second team All-NBA, you get an escalator into your contract as far as what you can get when you're renegotiating. Not to mention the bonuses for being MVP, for being sixth man of the year, for being on the all-defensive team that they have built in. So there's lots of things in there that are tied into it. I love it. I hope it happens. I think it'll be a battle. I don't think the number will end up being 70. That'd be a great number to be at, though. I bet it's closer to 65. We'll see if it happens, though. But that's being negotiated right now as a way, because the NBA is trying to figure out a way to curb load management and incentivize players to play more games. All right, that's it for me. Thanks so much for following me here on this. @ThatHappens on Twitter. This has been the Jeff Thitoff Show, DSPMediaOnline.com, and FanStream Sports. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you soon.